artistic friends, I'm just going to say. And we always close down the house with Relight My Fire.
Well, what's interesting about this, and this is probably something I'll do on the music podcast next week, is Jane brought it up the other day again. And the person who did that song, his name is Dan Hartman. And he has had a remarkable musical career. He died when he was only 44, appropriately enough for what you just said. He was a closeted gay man and died of AIDS. But he... so he does Relight My Fire, which is a straight disco song, but his biggest hit personally was I Can Dream About You, which you certainly would know. But he also...
Danny, there is no straight disco song, by the way.
But he had several hits, and he also, his first success was completely different. He wrote and recorded the song Free Ride with the Edgar Winter Group, which is,
crazy.
Has a cool guitar riff on it. And if you go to his Wikipedia page, I have it in front of me, but I only printed a short portion. It's so long, it would take you like 20 minutes to read. An unbelievable list of credits for him. But anyway, Dan Hartman entered Jane's life when she was a co-ed at Michigan with Relight My Fire. He also did Instant Replay. You might know that one.
Oh, yeah,
better.
we danced to that, too. I'd forgotten about that one.
I don't like that one that much. But anyway, I Can Dream About You is a good song. It's just...
Oh, yeah, Alan Brown. My friend Alan Brown and I, he's now become like a majorly successful international marketing guru for professional artistic organizations. And it's like when I see him, I immediately think of that song. He now owns the Berry Gordy House, by the way, in Detroit. He went back home and took it over.
There's a bowling alley in it.
Oh my God. We toured it. Oh my God.
Amazing, amazing. Well, there's some memories. We've got some suggestions, memories, maybe another thought or two. Little dog tale. I've got that coming up as well. Jane's looking around. It's not anything shocking, surprising, or hard to deal with from your standpoint. All that's coming up next. It's Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions, and the wonderful Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane. I think I get more actually feedback and positive comments about this podcast than any other. It's all of the podcasts have a similar audience, but I get more feedback about this from people. It's my favorite, whatever. Anyway, I guess people can just identify with you and me, and we'll continue to identify with you coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed, and if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426, and we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Enjoy all the excitement of football season at the 23rd Street Brewery. From the Jayhawks and college football to the NFL and even live-streamed Lawrence High and Free State football games, you can watch it all at the 23rd Street Brewery. Enjoy the games with your favorite menu item like the Bill Self Mac and Cheese, Naked Nachos, or the Haney Turkey Stack. And wash it all down with your favorite beer like a Wave the Wheat or Crimson Fog. 23rd Street Brewery on the corner of Clinton Parkway and Cassold in Lawrence.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back, and I don't know if we'll ever do this, and I don't know if it's the first thing that I ever really want to do. It's not high up on my checklist or bucket list of things, but Jane offhandedly mentioned the other evening, maybe last evening, I don't know, that she would like to go on a safari sometime. I don't think it's not, I'm sure I would love going on a safari. I mean, I'm sure, I've been with the buffalo and we've gone to South Dakota and Wyoming, and that's really fun, and this would be even more exotic. But I'll tell this story about my reunion. One of the people who will not be there is my longtime high school friend, Ferdy Tagan, who became a professional tennis player. Now he lives in Montana, actually, and he's not going. He wasn't much for high school, period. He didn't like high school. He wanted out of high school, and he actually went to UCLA and played tennis when he should have been a senior in high school. So anyway, he was successful in professional tennis. He married a woman who was very successful herself. She also came from a wealthy family. And so he's lived a nice life, very down-to-earth person, great one, and really nice person. But anyway, when they went on safari, they would go out in the bush during the day and then stay at the Four Seasons at night. That sounds more like your speed, honey.
They'd have their little, you know what, though? I think we stayed in cabins, when we were with the buffalo up in Custer National Park. I think you would enjoy it more than you think. It wasn't a tent.
No.
It will never be a tent.
There we go.
Sorry. A glamping, maybe. There's a glamping tent, maybe. As long as there's decent air. This is the thing. You just don't realize, you didn't go whale watching when Emily and I did down in Puerto Vallarta. There's something about the animals put a mood in the air. You can't explain it. You can look at photos forever, but until you're right in front or around these animals, it's like something. I think it's worth it. I have a lot of friends who've gone and they just say it's just unbelievable. But it may not be number one, but it's not a bad idea, though.
No, it's something I would, like I said, I'm sure once I did it, I would enjoy it. I just wouldn't say, hey, here's 5 things I want to do. It might come in 5th, but I still think I would probably really, really enjoy it. And there's no one who loves animals more than Jane, and animal shows and safari shows, whatever, but certainly our dogs are one of the passions. And it just made me think of the fact that we have Charlie, he's our mutt, and we have our third corgi, Willie. But our first corgi was really your first corgi, or your corgi first. It predated me. How did you were living alone then, and how did you explore and discover Dante and decide to have
a good question.
Little Dante?
If I remember correctly, golly.
I'm shocked that you don't remember this.
Emily, I think, was the one that...
Your sister, yes.
My sister knew about... maybe, you know what? I think I went to a dog show.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was. And somebody told me, I saw one of the dogs. I thought, that is really a cool looking corgi. And they knew that one of the offspring just had puppies. There were 2 left. And I dared go look. And I was like, oh my God, help me. And I couldn't help myself.
And when we first met, actually, Jane lived, I won't even say where it was, but she lived in her townhome, or whatever you call it, and we would go on little walks with Dante at that time. That was part of our courtship, actually.
That's right.
So Dante was followed by
Quinny.
Sometimes I mix them up.
Yes.
Dante, then Quinny, and now Willie. So wonderful dogs. And if you ever want to get a surefire, you will love it dog, a corgi cannot be beaten. Makes you happy all the time. Dog looks like it's happy all the time. Looks like it's smiling, whether it isn't or not. It could be in the worst mood in the world, and you'd never know. So anyway, that's a cool thing. I thought it was. I read it just before we did this. You had mentioned to me that you read what you said was a column. It was really a Facebook post by Gary Larson, who obviously is the creator of Far Side. And he just was kind of a little bit angry because there's a lot of backlash against Taylor Swift. And much of it is maybe from football fans who are watching the Chiefs play. And the Chiefs have gone from, when somebody new comes on the scene, Patrick Mahomes, he's exciting. They're a sensation. Well, they've been good for 5 or 6 years now, and pretty much most of America can't stand them.
Right.
Because they win all the time. And so that makes Taylor Swift, who seems like somewhat of an opportunist to some people or whatever, but she's just up there in the booth having a good time, having a couple drinks. It seems very down to earth. Nobody seems more down to earth than Donna Kelsey, and they seem very friendly.
Right.
But he's kind of angry about the fact that people are getting angry at her, and tell more about.
Well, the thing that he's getting at, he says, why are you in front of your children? Putting down negative comments about someone who's been so successful and helped so many other people in the music industry help get what's due to them from a business standpoint, that they now have classes about how she's done this at Harvard and all these famous universities, because she's been a very smart person. And from all intents and purposes, no one's ever said she's a bad person. She seems to be trying to do this with a lot of acumen and being a kind. I think she's trying to prove that you don't have to be a you-know-what to get what's due to you. And he even brought up the fact that, someone sued her, the guy that she was for defamation, and she sued him back, and she said for $1, you want millions? I'll sue you back for $1. And she won. I mean, she's pretty true blue.
She accused him of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And he sued her for, a defamation of character. And she said, no, this happened, and I'm going to sue you. And all she wanted was $1, and she won. And what Gary's point is like, why do you have to feel like you have to put negative comments down on a person like this in front of your children? What kind of role model are you for your children when you do this with someone who is clearly a good role model for women all over the world? And also, probably there's a pretty good chance if you're doing this in front of your children, at least one of your children probably really likes Taylor Swift.
Possibly.
And is a fan, so...
some people just aren't comfortable with success in other people, and so I don't know why that triggers negative thought. It's unfortunate.
Well, I certainly don't have negative thoughts about the show A Place to Call Home, which we have mentioned on this podcast before. It's an Australian television drama series, which now is streaming, and it premiered in 2013, and after its second season, it was actually canceled, but there was a groundswell of support, and it got other financial backing, and ended up being made for 4 more seasons. So you got a lot left, honey.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, if you want more storylines than a bowl of Cheerios in one episode of this, it's just, I think last night I missed one episode, I think. And I'm like, and this story had advanced by like leaps and bounds.
Oh,
I'm
it's
like,
crazy.
Who's married? Who's pregnant? Who's what? I mean, I would say there's 15 developments in every episode.
The writers must be laughing up a storm because they have to make these things up. They want to keep people, keeping their eyes on it. I think that's what it's all about.
It's about an Australian family, and there's serious overtones to it. One of the people who's in it, the lead actress, actually, Marta Dusseldorp, plays basically a Holocaust survivor, or at least somebody who had to live through that horror. And she returns to Australia, and this family takes her in eventually. And you can't even explain all the intricacies of the family because you better watch every episode and pay attention if you're doing this. You bring a notepad.
Yes.
That might be good. But anyway, we like the show, and we're probably going to like it even more as it goes along because the matriarch of the family is played by an actress named Noni Hazelhurst. And she's just not very good. And she's probably famous in Australia. I don't know. But she's got these smug looks on her face. I mean, you'll just hate her. But you know what? You only hate her. There's a more hateable character.
Yes.
In this particular thing. But most of the people are kind of nice. And there's all kinds of different stories and gender reveals and everything else in it. But by the way, there's a genial farmer who is out in the bush. And he takes in Sarah, who's the lead character, for a while, and just a nice guy, likes to have a pint or two out there and just live his life, hardworking man. He is played by an actor named Frankie J. Holden, who actually was the front man for a couple of famous bands in Australia in the 1970s and 80s.
Wow.
So anyway, the cast list is gigantic. He's prominent basically in every episode, and there's no drama with him. He's just lovable.
Beautiful scenery. Beautiful scenery.
There's great scenery of Australia. There's all kinds of things to recommend about it, but if you like a convoluted story, this is the thing for you.
It's fun.
Yes, it's fun. And fun is to be had at our reunion trip, which we have mapped out from Milford, Massachusetts to Falmouth to Boston. We'll just see how it goes. There'll be family involved. They'll probably end up getting mad at me for not seeing them enough or whatever. There are 5 other siblings. multiple grandchildren and nieces and nephews. A soccer game probably will be had. And my sister
Tell
and I
them we'll meet him for a drink in Woods Hole.
Yes, exactly. So